if you're not comfortable kneeling, then sit cross-legged. Do whatever feels comfortable. But kneeling's quite good because what we're moving on to, we're going to need our quads opened up a little bit. So we're already doing that by kneeling, and you're opening up your ankles at the same time. But if it's really uncomfortable, use the blocks in between your legs, or use a cushion under your ankles or your knees, wherever you feel you need a little bit of support and padding. Okay, so this morning we're on expectations, and this morning's low expectations. Hopefully none of you really come with low expectations, but maybe we do have low expectations sometimes. And I was thinking why we would use that, and it would be to shield ourselves maybe, or to avoid disappointment, or maybe being more realistic. So have a think as you go through the day. When you have low expectations, why is that? There is a saying or a quote from a renowned Swami, which said the greatest cause of anxiety is endless expectations. So we do put ourselves through it with expectations. But as I said yesterday, we come to the mat and we kind of know what we're going to get. It might not be what we think we're going to get, but we do get something every time we come to the mat. So let's go with our breath. Close your eyes and just notice if your breath is as you expected. At the beginning of the day, in the morning, first thing, how does your breath feel without controlling it? Just notice how smooth it is, how fast it is, which part of your body it's making it to. It might just be high up. Mine often I find is in my upper body. So is that kind of what you expect first thing in the morning? Okay, so either you can close your eyes or open them. We're going to go now into our breath practice. We're going to do Anuloma Viloma. So that's a in right, out left, out right. And we use our Vishnu Mudra. So our two fingers, either on the forehead or folded in, and our thumb closes our right nostril gently, and our ring finger for our left nostril. So we're beginning to breathe through our right nostril. If you're a bit bunged up this morning, don't worry about closing nostrils. Just try and do it psychically. So otherwise, close your left nostril off gently, and then breathe in through your right. Try and slow the breath down. Begin to try to count to 4 as you breathe in. And then gently close your right, open the left, and exhale through your left nostril. Close the left nostril. Oh, sorry, inhale through the left nostril. Hopefully some of you did that. And close it off gently, then exhale through the right. Go at your own pace, remember. Doesn't matter about if anybody else is different. Then you inhale through your right. Close it off and exhale through the left. Inhale through the left when you're ready. Close it off and exhale through the right. So that's the end of a round. Just continue with that pattern through your right, inhaling first of all, closing it off, moving over to the left for the exhale, inhaling through the left, and then moving back to the right. So continue for 2 or 3 more rounds in your own time. Really trying to focus on the rhythm and the pattern of this breath practice. Maybe your breath's starting to slow a little bit more and you feel more in control and can direct it a little bit deeper inside as you inhale. Maybe you can release from a little bit lower inside you on your exhales. Don't worry if you lose the pattern, just go back to something that you recognize. And again, if you feel a bit stuffed up, don't need to use the hand. Mudra is really just there to assist us and to help us concentrate. And when you come to the end of the next round, so the next time you exhale through your right nostril, let go of the breath, let go of the control of the breath. Maybe close your eyes again and just notice how your breath is now. And when you're noticing, is that what you expected to happen? Okay, so when everybody's ready, again, you might want the cushion here. We're doing a little bit of up and down in our knees to start. So pop the cushion under your knees if you want it. I'm not going to use mine. Optional here is to come onto broken toes. So it's folding your toes under, not for everybody and maybe not for you this morning. So you decide whether you want to try broken toes, which is make sure you tuck your little baby toes under as well. So you're unusually using your toes. In yoga, we often say don't use them, but you're folding your foot and opening up the soles of the feet. And you want your heels kind of rest, your buttocks resting on your heels. So you're still kind of hip distance apart with the legs. It's not for you, keep your feet down and keep your ankles on the floor. You might again want padding there. Okay, so when you're ready, whichever position you're in, we're going to raise up. We're going to take our hands above our head and we're going to stay there. And then we're going to think about a pelvic tilt. So drop your arms, circle them round, bring them down, bring one hand to the front of your belly and one hand to your back of your waist. And then find your pelvic tilt. So forget the breath just for a second. Think about moving your hips forward. So squeezing your glutes and tipping them under and rolling your pubic bone and pelvic bones up towards your navel. So that little pelvic tilt that we do when we're doing bridge. Just have a little play with that 2 or 3 times, rocking backwards, using your hands to direct or to receive so that you know you can feel the movement. You will feel it moving down into your hip flexors and through your glutes and maybe in your lower back at your waist. Just feeling that connection. Then take the arms back out to the side, sweep them back up, and then sit back down onto your heels. Okay, so with that pelvic tilt in mind, we're going to raise up and think about pelvic tilting as we do it. But let's forget the hands to start with. So pop your hands now where they were a minute ago, belly and the back of your waist. And then raise up, and as you do so, think of the pelvic tilt, bringing it in. So tucking the tailbone, rolling the tummy upwards towards the pubic navel, sorry, and then sit back down. 2 more on that side, lifting up, squeezing the glutes, tipping upwards. So it's really tucking the sit bones and the tailbones under, but trying not to curl forward with the upper body. So try and keep that reaching up through your crown feeling, but just tucking the tailbone. And then sit down. Swap hands the other way. Might feel a bit weird now, might just not feel natural. So the same thing again, raise up, pelvic tilt, and sit back down. Watch your shoulders. They do tend to want to roll forward as you do this. So try and keep your shoulders neutral. One more. Especially good for people like me who have lordosis and stick the bottoms out all the time. Okay, then come back down. Anybody that needs to pat their toes out in between, please do. You don't need to stay in this, or you can change to having your feet flat. Okay, inhale, we're going to raise the arms up and just come back down, taking them outwards, sweeping them round and sitting back down. So 2 more, raising the hands up, palms are facing forward, breathing in, reaching up, neutral crown, we're not doing a back bend, taking the arms round and back down. So this time we are back bending, so take your arms up and think of moving your heart forward up towards that top corner in front of you. And then taking the arms out as you tip forward again into neutral and back down. So back bend up, find a neutral to come back down. Remember that little pelvic tilt, see if you can bring it in as well and sit back down. Okay, so same thing, but thinking of the pelvic tilt more this time. So inhale up, we're staying in neutral, but we're pelvic tilting at the top, just in neutral, and then sitting back down. So squeezing the glutes and tipping the pelvis upwards. Inhale up. So as you do that, squeeze your glutes, tip up, sink the tailbone under, and sit back down. Now do this pelvic tilt with your back bend. Inhale up, raise the heart, tuck the tailbone, and back down. So we're not going to go into camel today. Liz is probably thinking we are, but no, we're not. But this is the sensation of camel. So raising up, opening up the heart and tipping the tailbone under, and then back down. And then everybody come on to tabletop. If you've had your toes tucked, give them a good old slap out. Have a little wiggle through them. Release any stale energy that we've held in there. And then we're going to walk backwards, and I'm going to come into a broken toe balance. So this is again an option. You can go into Muladhara, which is a squat pose here if you want, or you can walk back and come onto your toes, onto the balls of your feet. Hands can stay on the floor if you feel a bit wobbly. Maybe you can then move them up to your knees. And then you can think about drawing your crown up and tucking that tailbone under again. Finding the balance slowly in this position. Once you're up, maybe you can find your hands to heart center. Maybe you can draw your heart forward, take your shoulders back and down your back, draw your tummy in, find that little pelvic tilt again, and breathe and balance. So find a focal point in front of you, a drishti we call it. Try and find something steady to look at when you're trying to balance. Feel lots of wobbling in your toes, not for everybody this one. And if you've fallen over, don't worry, it's a learning process. Okay, so then come back down carefully, hands to the floor, bring yourself back into tabletop. Sit back for a second into child's pose, just taking the elbows to the floor, head maybe reaches the floor, or maybe it doesn't, but just thinking about stretching out through the back of our body here. And then we're going to come back up to tabletop. And we're going to take a couple of leg lifts here. So we're thinking of that crease that joins the top of our back of our hamstring to our glute. That's where we're moving from initially. So everybody, legs still bent in 90 degrees. We're going to squeeze your right glute at that point, then the join in the hip. Take the lift the foot back up behind us, sorry. Foot still flexed parallel to the ceiling. Thighs now parallel to the floor, legs bent. So we've got that 90-degree angle. Then we're going to do 3 sets of 3 lifts. So we're just thinking nothing else moving, long body from crown to sit bone, but we're just gently pulsing that right foot up towards the ceiling 3 times. Let it stop. 2 more, lift, squeezing the right glute to lift. 2 more sets of pulses, or as many as you can fit in, and then let the right knee come down. Same thing on the other side now. So switch on the tummy, make sure you've got that connection, hands, wrists, shoulders, obviously, and then move into your right knee. Squeeze that spot behind your left glute, lift the foot up, flex the foot to the ceiling, legs parallel to the floor on the thigh, and then we're taking 3 sets of pulses. And then release. So now we're going to take the right foot out, trail it across the floor with a big toe behind you. So stretch your leg out. Come up onto the ball of your foot again as if you were doing broken toe and gently press through the heel. So reaching out, but try and not take the hip back. Try and keep the hips square and really just think of lengthening the leg through the heel. So the back of the leg switches on. And then moving forward again, but keeping the leg extended, roll onto the front of your foot again. We're going to lift the leg straight this time. So think of that spot between your glute and your hamstring again, that line. Squeeze the right glute, lift your foot up. This time the toe is pointing back behind you. Doesn't matter what height you get to, but if you can, try and get your leg parallel to the floor. Keep your hip parallel to the floor as well, so you might tend to twist otherwise. Squeeze your tummy in, support your lower back, and then if you're comfortable, we're going to take 3 little pulses again with a straight long leg. And then release, same thing, other side, know where we're going now. So stretch that left leg back, come onto the ball of the foot, think of moving through the heel, but keeping the hip in place where it is. So we're really just lengthening the back of the leg. Roll back onto the front of your foot. Squeeze that spot between your glute and your hamstring. Lift that leg up to whichever height is comfortable for you. And then pulsing. So really just squeezing your glute to lift the leg up and down. But feel that nice opening on the front of the hip flexor. Watch the tummies aren't doming. Support the lower back. And then release that leg back down to the floor. Tuck the toes again, and we're going to lift up and hover. So we're just taking our knees off the floor here, an inch or so, as much as is comfortable. So moving the weight backwards onto the ball of your foot, lift the hips upwards and hover your knees an inch or so off the floor. Keep your tummy engaged, support yourself through your feet as well as your hands. Reach through your crown. Maybe take your sit bones back a little bit. And then release the legs back down. I'm going to roll up now into down dog here. So again, the toes are tucked just exactly where you are. We're thinking of moving the hips backwards towards that back corner. So we're lifting up through the hips as if I've got you by the hip flexors and then lifting you backwards. Don't go too far the first time. We're taking 2 or 3 roll-ups. So then roll back down gently. Inhale up if you can. Try and think of rolling those elbow creases forward to support you a little bit more in the front with a twist of the forearm. 2 or 3 roll-ups, just maybe getting a little bit longer in the back of the leg each time. Quite strong in the arms and shoulders, this movement. Think of the hips lifting you rather than pushing just. And then come back down, untuck the feet. Sit back into child's pose. Can be extended or your elbows can be to the floor. If you've got a cushion and you need it, pop it under your head for a second or take your head to the floor and breathe. So find the back of your body. I can feel it now. We have had to switch it on there. So find the back of the body. Find that spot between your glutes and your hamstrings, that area on the back of your leg that we've been using to lift. And find some space there now. Use your exhale to release those areas if you can. Use the inhale to feel a spreading sensation. And then after your next breath, we're going to come back up again. We're going to come into puppy here. So we're at tabletop. Back of the legs don't, back of the tabletop doesn't move. We're then going to walk the hands forward, one hand at a time until you can come down onto one forearm. And then move a little bit further forward if you can. You want to try and feel a long front and back body here. And then if you can take your head to the floor. If that's a little bit much for you, you can fold your arms and pop your head onto your folded forearms. But what we're trying to think of here is the sit bones moving over the knees. There's nothing moved at the back. And the heart then moving forward and downwards towards the floor. So it's a back bend we're looking at. So you're squeezing that, you've got the sensation of squeezing between your shoulder blades here and the heart moving down towards the floor. You might have to reach out a little bit further as you get lower. You don't get too close to the floor, don't worry. It's just thinking of moving that heart forward. Don't expect too much of yourself. Let your body tell you where it wants to go. And breathe, remember, never forget to breathe. And then we're going to lift back up gently. One hand at a time is best to walk yourself back up to tabletop. Okay, so find your tabletop position. As I said, if you can think of rolling that crease of the elbow forward, you'll get much more stability in this forearm because the bones in there, there's 2 bones that twist then, gives you much more strength in your wrists. Okay, so we're going to go into cat-cow to start with. We're starting a little kind of flow here thing. Make sure you've got your strap somewhere nearby now, and you probably won't need your cushion anymore. Okay, so find your tabletop position, find your alignment first of all, find your length through from crown to sit bone to tailbone that we worked on earlier. Take that tailbone back a little bit. You might have moved forward. I can feel I have. Lift your tummies up, bring them up towards your navel, and then move your heart slightly between your arms. Move it forward slightly and contain those shoulders. Okay, so from this position, breathe in long. We're going to go into cat on the exhale. So exhaling, sinking at the tailbone first of all, lifting up through the spine. Have that feeling of lifting up through the back of your body, your heart coming out the back of your body almost, and rolling your head forward to look between your legs. Inhaling, we're coming from the tailbone again first of all, so moving forward from the tailbone into cow. Don't let the hands sink. Push through the hands gently, keep that stability and connection. Exhale back into cat again, one more time, moving from the tailbone slowly on the exhale, feeling every vertebrae open up on the back of the body as you lift up high. And then moving forward from the tailbone again, rippling, moving the heart slightly between the arms again as it comes into a mini back bend here. And then come back to neutral. And then we're going to go into dynamic now. So we're going to sink backwards as we exhale into cat. So inhale long and neutral. Exhale, begin to move into cat from your tailbone, but as you do, push through your hands and gently take your sit bones backwards, not quite to your heels, but really big extension through the armpits. Let the head go down as well to look towards your knees. And then inhaling, dropping your heart forward and rolling it down. You have to bend your elbows a little bit here. Rolling, dragging your heart, it feels like, across the floor and back up into cow. So exhaling back into cat. Really think of moving and coming upwards like a cat would do and stretching your front paws. And then dropping the heart and tipping the tailbone up really here as you move forward into cow. Take one more, thinking of those points. Really take it slowly and find every little vertebrae moving right through to your neck as you look down towards your knees. Move from your tailbone again, lifting it up, heart rolling forward across the mat, elbows are down at that point, then you push up and come back up into cow. And then we're going to walk the hands forward one at a time and come into half plank. So about one hand's distance forward, and then move your shoulders back over your wrists. Elbows still facing forward, the crease of the elbow if possible. We're into half plank here. So lift the tummy up. Feel that sensation of the tailbone tucking again. So that pelvic tilt will stabilize your bottom half a lot more. And then we're coming down. So we're tucking the elbows close to the body. We're moving the heart forward again through the arms as the elbows come backwards, and we slowly lower ourselves down to the floor. And then just pop your head on the floor for a second, have a breather. And then we're going to come up 3 times now into baby cobra. So as your head's down, just fiddle with your hands. They should be in the right position, but you want your fingertips basically in line with your shoulder bones, with your collarbones. Elbows are really tucked in, squeezing into the side. Connect with the back of your body. Connect with that spot between your shoulder blades and the back of your body. Draw your tummy up off the floor. Maybe widen your legs if you have lower back issues. Just gives it a little bit less strength through there. Make sure your pubic bones are pressing gently into the floor. So again, that feeling of the pelvic tilt. Move the hips forward. And then when you're ready, we're going to breathe in. We're going to gently start to cuddle up. Moving up, tucking the chin still, not reaching too far forward with the nose. Not too high, a cobra first of all, and then back down. Watch what's happening with the bottom half as you take another couple of those. Just going as high as you feel comfortable. Don't let the ego push you forward. Just go to your spot this morning. One more. Breathing in as we go up and exhaling. As we release back down. When you come back down, stretch your left hand away from you. Take your right hand and fold it so that you can rest your head on the forearm. So our stable side is our left side here. We're going to fold our right leg up again like we did at the beginning. So we want that right angle with the foot flexed and the foot is parallel to the ceiling. So the thigh's still on the floor at this point. Find that spot again between your hamstring and your glute. And we're taking 3 lifts here. So it's quite difficult maybe. So pelvic tilt first of all. And then think of that spot across the back of the glute and hamstring. Keep your head down. And then lift the foot up just as high as is comfortable towards the ceiling and lower. So you should feel some space between your thigh and the floor. Squeezing that right glute, keeping that connection through tummy and pelvic joints to the floor. Take it nice and slowly, inhale up if you can and exhale down. I've come up, but keep your head down. I'm only up because I'm talking. And then release that foot. Stretch those toes away on your right side again. Switch on that spot again between the glute and the hamstring. See if you can lift your thigh 3 times off the floor now with a long leg. Not too far, just as much as is comfortable. Lifting and lowering. Keeping your head down, keeping your pelvic bones into the floor in that pelvic tilt to support you and stabilize you. Lifting your tummy to support your lower back. And after the third one, we're moving to the other side. So switch sides, forearm would be your left arm now under your head. Reach out with your right hand, stabilize on the right side now, and then bend the left leg up. So foot flex to the ceiling first of all, 3 leg lifts. Remember to switch on your bottom half first of all, moving in towards the floor in the pelvic tilt, and then lift. May have started already and do some extras, that's fine. Try and use the inhale to lift, try and slow it down, really feel that squeezing feeling behind your left glute. And after your third one, stretch that leg away, reach through the big toe of the left foot, switch on the bottom half again, take the pelvic tilt sensation, squeeze the left glute, find that crease behind and lift. Inhale up, exhale lower, really slow it down if you can. The slower, the harder. Everybody can throw their limbs all over the place. It's strength work we're working on here. Okay, so then release that leg. And then we're going to come up into seals. So take the arms about the width, the hands rather, about the width of the mat in front of you and quite ahead of you. So your elbows are kind of in line with your shoulders at this point. And then you're going to gently do your kind of cobra roll here. So switch on the pelvic tilt sensation again into the floor. Legs can be wide as the mat if you want to support your lower back a bit. Don't forget to lift the tummy. And then start to lift up as if you were doing cobra. So same thing, sensation of rolling up through the back of the spine, contracting the back of the body. When you come up, you can either keep the elbows on the floor or you can gently press into the hands and lift straight up. So you've got nice long arms now. So lots more space in this, right down to probably past your tummy button. And then lower gently back down. So take 2 more of those in your own time. Rolling up in an inhale. Really keeping that bottom half stable. Exhaling, coming back down. Really squeezing and contracting the back of the body. Feel like it's like Venetian blinds closing in the back of the body. And then releasing as you come back down. And then we're going to need our, no, we're not needing our straps yet. Okay, so forehead on a folded right arm again. So fold your right arm under your forehead. Bend your left leg up again behind you. Flex the foot. Now see if you can bring your heel in a little bit closer to your bottom this time. And then see if you can reach back with your right hand, left hand, sorry, that'd be a bit difficult. And you've lifted your head now off the floor. So there's that sensation of cobra, but you're using your right forearm to help you stay up, to stabilize and support you. So then reach back and see if you can find either your foot or your trousers maybe, or your shin, wherever feels comfortable. And just hold it gently, no pulling, no forcing, no pushing your foot into your hand yet, just holding on to wherever you can reach. Bring yourself up a little bit higher if you can't quite reach by pushing into your forearm to reach up a little bit higher. So we've got a sensation of really opening up in the left shoulder here. And then if you're comfortable, have a little kick through that back foot. If you're holding your trousers, you can still do that. It will still open up your shoulder a bit more. And then release back down onto the floor. So now grab your strap while you're lying down. It's okay. Make a little hoop in it for your foot. You've done this at the beginning, maybe. So you're going to need a little hoop rather than using the strap doubled. Note to self to get you to do this at the beginning of the class rather than at the end. Okay, so once you've got your hoop, you're going to tuck that round that left foot if you can. Excuse me. My strap's too old and tough, this one. So once you've got a little hook just big enough for your foot to hook into, I should have got you playing with this anyway already. Hook it round your foot if you can, reach back and hook it round, and then bring that strap over your left shoulder. Stay up on your forearm, keep your body up in that sensation of seal. So you're lifting up as much as you can off the floor, and you're looking forward ahead of the mat. You've got your strap in your left hand and your foot's connected to it. So we're just going to gently play with that strap to start off, just to warm up here. And then when you've got that connection between hand and foot, when you find your left glute again and that spot behind it, and see if you can lift your thigh off the floor. And then see if you can move your foot away from you, but you're still holding onto the strap. So it's a sensation of pulling away. And as the strap pulls, you're moving your hand forward, so your leg will lift a little bit more. And then push into the strap again with your front of your foot, and then draw it forward again with your hand. So your leg's gently moving up off the floor. Every time you push away, you pull it forward and you lift a little bit higher. Not a wobbling going on my side. So it's just a sensation of moving up and down. So we're in half bow here. And then release. For those of you that want to, with a strap off your foot, everybody can have a play with that a little bit more. Otherwise, if you want to, come up onto your forearm with that sensation of seal again in the front of your body. Take your foot like we did before and see if you can then lift your thigh again off the floor, and your foot's connected to your hand or your hands on your trousers, and then push gently into the foot. And see if you can bring yourself up instead of using the strap, basically. So you want to lift up a little bit higher and lift your foot and push it against your hand. And then release. So that's one really just to play with. We'll go on to the other side now. Try the other side. Can't just do one, it will be uneven. So moving the strap away first of all. Catch your hand first of all onto your foot or your trousers. Place your forearm across in front of you. Lift up as if you were in seal. So really raising up. And then taking your left leg, finding that glute hip connection, and see if you can lift your thigh off the floor. A little bit harder that. So just play with the foot at first if it's too strong, and then we'll use the strap to lift. So one side might have been easier than the other. Just notice that, because you may expect to do the same thing on both sides, and it doesn't always happen. Bring your strap in to have a play then. Pop it round your foot. Take it over your right shoulder, holding in your right hand. Feel that connection first of all between the two. And then when you're ready, make sure you're up nice and tall in your seal position. And then squeezing that left glute, lift it off the floor. So you have that thigh space if you can. Use the hand and the foot to help you here. So kicking your foot into the strap, drawing through forward with your hand, and lifting a little bit higher. Think of the pelvic tilt, so really switch on that bottom half for stability. lifting a little bit higher. Push into your forearm if you can, lift a little bit higher there. And then release. And let go of the strap. So that's one just to play with at home when you want to. We won't go into full bow today. Take yourself back down to the floor, fold your forearms again if you want to, and pop your head on them. You might even want to take your forearms out the way and take your forehead to the floor and maybe goalpost your arms. And just find that release through the lower back by rocking from hip to hip. So just rock through your hips. And then just stay there and take a couple of breaths. Find that connection with the floor again. Maybe take a few pelvic tilts by squeezing, pressing the bones into the floor, tucking the tailbone under sensation, and releasing and letting everything spread. Take 2 or 3 more of those. So how did you get on with that? Was there any expectations? Did you do better than you thought, or did you find something different in that position? The ego tends to tell us how well it thinks we should do. It also tells us that we're not doing very well, and it makes us feel like a failure sometimes. So expectations aren't always good things. We have to sometimes just accept where we are and what we are and get as much from that as we can. So then we're going to come back onto our backs again. But before you do that, you might want to push up and come into wide leg child's pose just for a stretch off of the lower back. So if you do, push up through, take your big toes together, take your knees to the width of the mat and just stretch back, elbows coming to the floor, head maybe doesn't quite reach, maybe it does. Sit bones are really widening. And you'll feel a real sensation across the lower back here. So do keep your tummies a little bit engaged here. Don't let go completely. It's not a back bend. It's actually a forward fold. So we're tucking our tummies up in a forward fold normally to give ourselves more space to curl up through our back body. And then we're going to walk forward and we're going to come round onto our back. You'll need your strap and you'll need it in that little hook still. So roll onto your back when you're ready. Actually, you don't need it in the hook, do you? No. But if it's in the hook, don't worry, we'll still have a long enough strap. So find the back of your body on the floor now. Just put your hands on your belly. Bring your feet to the floor as if you were going to do bridge, but we're not going to do bridge. We're just going to pelvic tilt. So bring your hands to just below your belly. Make maybe your index fingers and your thumbs into a diamond shape there. And then think of the pelvic tilt. So inhale, and as you exhale, draw your pubic bone in, up towards your navel. So tilt your tailbone under and upwards. And then lower. Just do 2 or 3 pelvic tilts just to release off that lower back a little bit. And then we're going to take the strap when you're ready. Lengthen out your right, bring your right knee in, first of all. Pop your strap round your ball of your foot again. The left leg can either be straight or falling out to the side. It's your stability, it's your back counterbalance. So take the strap in both hands, in one side in one and one in the other. You're on your right foot. Think of flexing the foot and having it parallel to the ceiling. Knee might still be quite bent here. Don't worry too much, but you want to try and gently lift up through the heel as much as is comfortable. So let the strap ride through the hands and stretch out if it needs to. Don't want to lock the knees, but we want to find that little bit of opening sensation up the back of the leg. And then wherever you are, try and move your leg a little bit away from your body. So taking your heel forward slightly, so you feel that opening between your thigh and your torso. And then gently press up through the sole of the foot. Maybe curl your toes a little bit, flointing. And then move the strap into your left hand. Both ends into your left hand. Keep the foot flexed. And then try and move that inside edge of the foot down towards the floor. So you're just folding inwards at the ankle, that's the sensation there. So you should feel a big opening in the outside of your right ankle. And then you're gently drawing that leg, but keeping the right hip placed solidly on the floor. You're just drawing the leg across towards the left. So you won't go very far. You feel as if you should do a twist, but don't. Keep your right hip solidly on the floor. So you'll just feel your foot is hovering over your left leg, roughly. And you'll feel a big sensation then, hopefully, up the outside of your right leg. Nice big stretch there, particularly if you can keep your ankle folded inwards. And then bring the foot back up, bring the strap into the right hand, and then just gently allow that right leg to drop over towards the right. Try and take your upper arm to the floor to give you a little bit more support there as you allow your leg to go over. Be a lot of shuddering maybe because your leg doesn't want to let go into the support of the strap, but see if you can let it. Find a nice big inner thigh stretch. Don't go too far, don't let the ego push you, just go as far as is comfortable. Any uncomfortable pain sensations, move back up a little bit. Use your counterbalance to balance you. Nice big opening across the abdominal muscles here as well. And then take the foot back up, let go of the strap, draw that knee into chest, have a little squeeze in half Apanasana. So either holding the back of your thigh or the front of your shin, just drawing your thigh gently down towards your body, having a bit of a squeeze, opening the back of the hips. And then stretch that leg away from you, take it down onto the floor. And we'll go to the other side. So just before you do, notice the difference in one side and the other. I feel like I've got one leg an inch longer now. So we're using the right leg now, which feels the longer leg as a counterbalance. Bringing the left leg in, folding the leg so we can put the strap around it. Bringing the strap into both hands. First thing is we're trying to just flex that left foot and move it towards the ceiling through the heel. Not too strong. You don't need to completely unbend the knee. You can still have a soft knee here, but you're thinking of really just trying to lengthen through the back of the leg. And then moving that leg forward. So you find a bit more space between the top of the thigh and the torso. So you're opening up your hip flexor, basically. Drawing the toes down towards you. And breathing. See if you can let go of your hips a little bit as you exhale. And then when you're ready, move the strap into your right hand, flexed foot, and then you fold it over at the ankle towards your left side. So the inside edge is folding downwards. Find that opening at the outside of the ankle. And then keeping the left hip solidly on the floor, draw that leg across your body. And get that nice big sensation through your IT band, really tight area at the outside of your leg. So come to the point that you feel comfortable. But you still want your left hip on the floor, remember, but you should feel a nice big stretch through the outside of your left leg. Maybe different this side to the other. Remember, we're not completely symmetrical. And then bring yourself back up to center, move the strap to the other hand, and then just gently, upper arm on the floor, maybe as extra support, just gently let that leg fall out. It knows the strap's there, mine just isn't going to give to it. So you use your breath and see if you can relax your legs and your hips a little bit through the exhales. And get that nice open sensation through the inner thigh. And then gently bring the leg back up using the strap to support you. Take the strap off, bring that left leg in gently towards you into half Apanasana. Hands behind your thigh or on your shins, just squeezing the leg down towards your body. Nice big squeeze and contraction through your hip flexor. Nice big opening through the back of your glutes and hamstring, that area that we've been lifting with. Give it some space now. And then release that foot to the floor, stretch both legs away from you. Just for a second, notice if they feel even again, if you don't feel like a haggis with different lengths of legs. And then widen your feet to the width of the mat. Let the feet fall outwards. Take your hands above you and stretch out into 5 stars. So taking your arms and legs diagonally outwards. Find that center point that we worked with last week and see if you can move out from it and really stretch outwards in all directions. Remember your head, your crown as well. So stretching upwards and outwards. And then releasing back towards center. Take a couple more of those. So inhaling out, really reaching and stretching and opening from the center outwards, not reaching from the toes and the fingers. And then drawing back in towards center. So like a big elastic band opening up. And release. And then bring yourself down into Shavasana by dropping the arms down to the side, opening the palms up. Feet are falling out. You might want to have a little hip wriggle just to release off a little bit more. Remember, you can always take some more cool down movements after we finish. We have to do a certain time limit. So if you need more, always take more on the mat. That's what it's there for. So just to finish, how have your expectations gone for the class? Better or worse? There's never really a worse than a yoga mat, to be honest. You've got yourself here and made yourself be here and given yourself time. So you've already given yourself benefits. But sometimes we expect to do a little more. So just remember, lowering your expectations may sometimes save you frustrations, and it might actually help you achieve more. And it makes you feel better because you haven't failed. Okay, so when you're ready, have a little wriggle, stay in Shavasana or do other things if you need to. Otherwise, come up to cross-legged. My screen's gone funny again for some reason. It seems to kick me off at a certain time. Okay, so find Sukhasana, our easy pose, to finish our class today. As you go ahead, think of lowering your expectations today, and maybe you'll find you get somewhere quicker or further. Maybe you won't, but maybe you won't feel that you haven't gone as far as you need to. Hands come together to finish it. And thank you everybody for your practice. Tomorrow I'll be somewhere in France. Hopefully it'll all work. Pray that the Wi-Fi will. Thank you for being here with me at Mont Blanc, and hopefully be back here again with you soon. Namaste.